Righty then. Okay, so this morning for the offering, I'm going to talk about giving a gift to the giver. And so we're in 2 Chronicles 29, and David has got the Israelites together, and he's handing over to Solomon, who's going to build the temple. Of course, God having told David that he would not build the temple because he's got too much blood on his hand. And so he's talking to them, and we're picking it up in verse 3 where he says, "Moreover, because I have set my affection on the house of God." So there's his motivation for what he's going to do next. But he's saying he has set his affection on the house of God. So it's about God, His glory, and that is why he's doing what he's doing. So because he has set his affection on the house of his God, of my God, he makes it personal here, just like we can make it personal in our lives. So my affection on the house of my God, as David says. But because I have set my affection on the house of my God, in addition to all that I have prepared for the holy house. Now there's a whole list of things that he's prepared for Solomon. He's gathered basically the materials. He's gathered the materials for the building of the temple. But then he says, I have a private treasure of gold and silver, which I give for the house of my God. So the affection that he's got for God and for the work of God, for his kingdom, moves him to give from a personal treasure. And now this is what that personal treasure looks like. It's 3,000 talents of gold of Ophir, 7,000 talents of refined silver for overlaying the walls of the house, gold for the uses of gold, silver for the uses of silver, and for every work to be done by craftsmen. Now you can argue that David is a king. And so because he's a king and because he's got all of this wealth, it's easy for him to give. But David didn't start out as a king. David started out as a shepherd boy. A shepherd's boy who wasn't even recognized by his father. And the thing is, David knew the value of things. It's amazing. The deeper I look into the life of David, the more I understand that he understood value. He didn't bring a sacrifice if it didn't cost him something. There was this one time that he was overwhelmed with thirst while he was fleeing for Saul, and so he's thirsty and he wishes for a drink from the well of Bethlehem. So 3 of his mighty men had crept through enemy lines, fetched water for him, brought it back, and what he does is he pours it out as an offering. David, long before this point, knew how to give. David, long before this point, I mean, he sat in a cave where his enemy is delivered to him, saying, I will not lift my hand against the anointed of God. Whilst he had every right to it. All of the prophecies, he was already anointed as the king. And I mean, all of his people there said, there you have it, God giving him over to you in this day. And he had the wisdom to wait. This is the heart of David. That's the heart of the man that gives. And he's giving silver for the overlaying of the walls of the house, gold for uses of gold, silver for the uses of silver. He's supplying what needs to be done, where it needs to be applied. That's what he's doing. And then in the next breath, he's asking his people the following. So now, who will offer willingly to fill his hand and to consecrate it today to the Lord? It's very interesting that word, the original word used there for consecrating, is also the word that can be translated in fill up your own hand. So being set apart for a specific use is also filling in your own hand. And so he's asking, now who will offer willingly? That's a very important word. When we bring offerings to God, it's a willing act. So today to the Lord, like one consecrating himself to the priesthood. And so then there are a couple of verses about how the Israelites reacted to this and how they contributed, how they brought. And then we pick it up again in verse 9. So then the people rejoiced because they had given willingly. So if you give willingly, there will be a joy in your heart. And so use that as a measure for seeing whether you are giving willingly or not. Because it has to be accompanied with joy. But for with a whole and blameless heart they had offered freely to the Lord. King David also rejoiced greatly. But so there's the one idea. The one idea is his affection for the house of God moves him to bring. That's the one idea I want to leave with you. Then the other idea I want to leave with you is this one today. So the reaction there was David blessed the Lord before all of the assembly. And he said, "Be praised, adored, and thanked, O Lord, the God of Israel, our forefather, forever and ever. Yours, O Lord, is the greatness and the power and the victory and the majesty." And so doesn't matter where you are in your life right now. And I mean, I'm pretty sure that you can talk about areas of greatness, and I'm pretty sure that you can talk about areas of victory and areas of glory and areas of majesty where you are ruling over circumstances in your life. But at the end of the day, it belongs to God. His is the greatness. His is the power. His is the glory and the majesty. For all that is in the heavens and the earth is yours. David understood who things belonged. And yours is the kingdom, O Lord, and yours it is to be exalted as the head over all. And that's the same thing today. What we have belongs to Him. He goes further. He says, both riches and honor come from you. So if you have riches, well, it came from God. If you enjoy honor, well, it came from God. It all comes from Him. He is the ultimate source of everything that you have and everything that I have. And so in your hands, so you reign over all. In your hands are power and might. And in your hands it is to make it great and to give strength to all. It comes from Him. And so now, therefore, our God, we thank you and we praise your glorious name and those attributes which that name denotes. But who am I? And what are my people that we should retain strength and be able to offer this so willingly? For all things come from you, and out of your own hand we have given to you. Out of your own hand we have given to you. That's the second idea I want to leave with you here. So first, it's his affection for the house of God that makes him give from his personal treasury. But then secondly, he understood that all things come from God and that it is out of your own hand that we have given. And so this would be a more appropriate picture of that. Because it's similar to when my boy buys me a gift to show me that he loves me. Now, do I feel loved in that moment? Certainly, because he's thought of me. But who's the supplier of that gift? He's not buying it with his money. No, he's buying it with my money, because I am his source. And in the same way, giving to God becomes so much easier if we understand that we're just giving it back. It didn't belong to us in the first place. We are simply stewards of what He gives, but He is the giver, and we get from the affection that we have for His house to give back and to contribute to the work of His kingdom. And so that's why David then says, O Lord our God, all this store that we have prepared to build you a house for your holy name, and the token of your presence comes from your hand, and it is all your own. So I'm going to give you an opportunity to give a gift to your giver. And so we've got the card machine. There's a container there for cash if you want to give cash. And then there's the SnapScan. Not SnapScan. It is SnapScan. Yeah. So, and the online details. And so you can give, and bless you as you do so. But as we do so, make sure that it comes from an affection for the house of God, in which case it will be willing and it will be accompanied with joy, because He's the giver first and foremost, and we simply give back to our giver simply because we love Him.